Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, here I am speaking as the moderator of Group 5. Will present our paper presentations about language and identity. Next slide, please. So let me introduce my group. We are from fifth group and we have three members here. On the left side, there is Gayatri Putri Nandini. On the in the middle or on the center, there is Dina Ayu Laraswati, and on the right side, it's me, Aulia Zahra Fatin, as the moderator and the speaker, and the first speaker. Next slide, please. Okay, so first thing first, we're gonna talk about how language reflects personal and group identity. So, language is a crucial aspect of human identity and communication, shaping our ideas, opinions, and social bonds. It allows us to express our thoughts, feelings, and cultural heritage, both defining and reflecting who we are. This essay emphasizes the importance of preserving and celebrating linguistic diversity, as language is fundamental to forming personal and cultural identities. So the question is, how does language show who we are as personal no, and group identity? So language reflects both personal identity and group identity, who you are as an individual and which group you belong to. So, in the personality, the way you speak shows your personality, education, or even your confidence. As in the group, you can show your identity in language diversity as your accent, slang, or dialect that marks your social class, ethnicity, or even regional background. For example, someone speaking Sundanese at home but English at university. We can show the way where they belong to both identities when they speak English and they suddenly give out their accent as a Sundanese. And then next slide, please. So language as an identity reflector. Language reflects both individual and cultural identity, as we already spoke about earlier, shaping our ideas, opinions, and social relationships. It is a fundamental part of who we are, influencing how to communicate and express our heritage. Preserving linguistic diversity is therefore essential for fostering understanding and harmony between cultures. So, what examples do Holmes and Meyerhoff give? Holmes and Meyerhoff say language can show identity through choices of language and variety. For example, Maori people in New Zealand using Maori language to express their cultural pride, whereas as African American, vernacular English, or also called AAVE in the US, signals belonging to the African American community. Nowadays, some people and most of people call it as Ganglish, where it's kind of stereotype how African American speaking English as a gangsta, so it's a little bit too stereotype. And another example, teenagers often use special to mark themselves as youth to separate the teenagers and the adults. For example, the Gen Z, we have our own slang, and the next generation, there is Gen Alpha. They have some sort of jokes that we as Gen Z don't understand, or the previous generations, such as, for example, there's 6 7. We don't understand about that joke, but they understand it. So when they speak their jokes, it will reflect that they are belong to the Gen Alpha community. And next slide, please. Okay. Um, Next slide. Yeah. Thank you very much. So, linguistic diversity's advantages. We have five advantages here. So, the first is cultural heritage and preservation. Second, cognitive benefits. Third, improve communication skills. Fourth, global opportunities. And fifth, improve international relations. So, how is identity marked through accent, vocabulary, or register? Accent, British, for example, there's British English versus American English. From the accent, they can show what nationality we belong to. Rural versus urban accents show class or origin. Vocabulary, from the vocabulary, the words we choose can reveal our age group. Like what I said earlier about the Gen Alpha jobs. And then in the register, formal register in class show respect and education, while informal register with friends show closeness and solidarity. For example, when we text our professor, we use first salam, assalamualaikum, and then apologizing for disturbing their time, interrupting, and also who we are. And then next, we continue to our topic, why we text that certain professor. From this register itself, it can show who we are and who they are in this conversation. In these advantages, we can show the diversity. Um, Next slide. So, role of English in shaping students or teacher identity in Indonesia. This will be delivered by our second speaker, Gayatri Putri Nandini. The time is yours. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Aulia, for the opportunity. Alright, everyone. So now I will explain about the next material. It's about role of English in shaping students or teacher identity in Indonesia. So, from the study, several recurring themes appear in how English impacts or interacts with identity among students and teachers in Indonesia. English is associated with globalization, with international opportunities and also prestige. In Indonesia, this means students and teacher often have to negotiate between a global identity and their local cultural identity. In the context of Indonesia, this often results in hybrid identities because many Indonesians are multilingual. They may switch between identities depending on the context, whether at home, school, or on social media. For instance, a student might feel more comfortable speaking English on social media, but still maintain strong ties to their national identity. However, this can also bring challenges such as pressure to conform to native speaker norms, which can cause insecurity. So, how does English affect students' sense of identity? So, English influences Indonesian students' sense of identity in multiple, often constructing like fluid and multifaceted identity, because learning English forces students into a process of identity negotiation. They bring their existing Indonesian local and religious identities such as L1 or L2 cultures, like their first language and then their second language into the learning process, which is complex and continuously negotiated over time. And also, the speaking English create prestige or distance. Um, Social and English proficiency is widely regarded as a highly valued form of cultural capital. It's often a prerequisite for assessing higher position in prestigious companies and gaining entry to top universities. And then therefore we can see that the identity of teachers also evolve as they um, negotiate what is expected professional versus their personal beliefs and local cultural backgrounds. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so here are examples and challenges in role of in shaping students and teacher in Indonesia. For example, is pre-service English teacher and Indonesian English, and also novice teachers in Bandung, also teacher internalizing local wisdom, learners in international schools, cultural identity in periphery, and also effects of textbook. Also the challenges, as I mentioned before, about pressure toward native speaker norms, language hierarchies, also erosion of local language or identities, and mismatch between identity and reality of schooling or sources. In study, is a in for another example is a study in NIAS where English teachers attempt to include local wisdom values into their English lessons, influencing their identity as both teachers and cultural carriers. Also, okay, now and then what identity issues do teacher face using English? Um, Teachers face dilemmas about how to present themselves in the classroom, such as tension between being a caring teacher versus a tool or disciplinary teacher, or deciding whether to follow the established methods of experiences college or develop their own independent teaching styles. Okay, so for the next slide. Okay, next slide, please. No, no, no. Next slide. Okay. Next slide, please. I think for the next material will be explained by Dinayu. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Gayatri. Uh, the last point we want to highlight is uh, identity negotiation. Where multilingual individuals balance and adjust their multiple identities through language in educational setting. So, this refers to dynamic process by which multilingual individual, like us, student and teacher, continually adjust our multiple identities through language used in educational setting. It's about managing and balancing different social, cultural, and linguistic identities in a given context. Uh, this is especially important in the context of English language. In English language teaching in Indonesia, because it shows that language use is not just about communication; it's about asserting and reshaping identities. Yeah. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. Let's go for negotiation. The first is code writing and then translating. This is this Great example when teacher and students treat between Indonesia, a local language, and English to manage classroom, meaning negotiate their identities as member of multiple language community. This practice, known as translanguaging, allows for more flexible and hybrid identities to emerge rather than being confined and fixed categories. So, uh, what the conflict in multilingual context is uh, identity conflict appears when students face pressure to assimilate into the dominant language culture, risking loss of their native language and cultural identity. This can create feelings or marginalization, identity sorry, identity confusion, and disengagement from education. Students may experience emotional and psychological impact due to this tension between maintaining home language versus adapting to dominant languages like English. Practice such as persuading can both assert multilingual identities and create tension with peers or institutions that favor monolingualism. Okay, slide. Okay. The role of teacher facilitating negotiation. The first is modeling multilingualism. The second is encouraging multilingual practice, and then the third is validation. Students and teachers balance bahasa local language and English by employing strategies such as translanguaging, meaning using multiple languages within the classroom to aid understanding and inclusion. Teachers often allow the use of local languages alongside bahasa and English to ensure learners comprehend content, especially when students have varying English proficiency. This negotiation helps balance power among language speakers and avoid excluding students who struggle with English only instruction. Okay. Next one. Next slide, please. Okay. Example in Indonesia, like switching between Indonesia local language Sundanese and English is a common practice in Indonesian schools. This isn't just about communication, but also ways for students and teachers to express their different cultural and linguistic identities. For example, like using a local language can show a sense of community and share heritage, saying, while using Indonesian for English can indicate move toward more formal academic. So, yeah, teachers can help build positive bilingual identity uh, by strategies like using culturally responsive pedagogy that integrates hidden languages and cultures into learning. And then the second is encourage learners agency, resilience, and adaptability in language acquisition. So, teacher must do several techniques to teach learners. And then the third is modeling with a cognitive skill and self-reflection to help students recognize and value their multilingualism. And then, yeah, maybe that's all for me. I will give it back to the moderator, Aulia, for
Okay. Thank you very much for Gayatri Nandini and Inayapati for our paper presentation today. So, I'll take conclusion. The conclusion of this topic is that um, the way you speak, from your gesture, from the accent, from the slang, from the words, and etc., it can show who you are as an individual, and also which group you belong to. It's normal and it's fine because we have our identity and it's showing who we are. So I think that's all from our group. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.